Hello again, and welcome back to Leicester's the Place podcast with me, Jerry Taggart, and him, Big Matty Elliott. I'm delighted to say that we have a fan's favourite from back in the 90s on the show today, so much so that they still sing his name from the stands. Yes, it's the one and only Iwan Roberts. Welcome along, Iwan.
Cheers, Tags.
Yeah.
Matty.
Good to see you, mate.
Both well?
What's it like? What do you think of the facilities here?
I mean, because obviously I've seen footage of it on the club's Twitter account. You see photos, but when you're coming down that little lane and you turn left, oh my God, what a facility this is.
Sofa's not too bad, is it?
Sofas are good.
Nice
Sofas are
and
good.
comfy, so
Sofas are good. I think
just relax.
Matty's got the biggest chair, has he? Or the bigger chair?
Need it for my backside, don't I?
I didn't like to say that, to be fair.
Get there before you do, yeah. That's spectacular, mate. Isn't it?
Oh,
Spectacular.
I mean...
You've probably only seen half of it.
But I suppose you need a facility like this now at the top level to attract top talent.
Yeah. Certainly on the youth side, probably as much as anything.
I mean, it is. As you turn left, it's like, wow.
Anyway, it's not about
Yeah.
training ground. This is about you, son. And we're seeing far too much of each other, by the way, these days, aren't we? Working together and back in the day playing against each other. I was just wondering if this situation ever occurred, but
No.
probably not. Probably not, did it?
I played against Tags when he was a young lad. He'd just broken into the team at Barnsley. I had a night out in Barnsley with Steve Agnew when I was a Leicester player. And I can't remember what the bar was called, but Tags was in there running the show. But yeah, I think
Doing a DJ
Literally.
set.
You owned it, didn't you?
I think I first came across you, Matty, when you were playing for Oxford.
Yeah.
In the championship as it was back then. I was obviously playing for Leicester. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later
We'll
on.
come on to that.
Yeah, let's get a few questions.
Painful memory, painful
Yeah,
memory.
for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. Come on, get going, Elliot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I suppose, as is often the case, we'll start at the beginning-ish. How does a boy from North Wales end up in not-so-sunny Watford?
I mean,
At the age of what were you, 17?
17, because I'd stayed on to do my A-levels, and considering I only had 3 O-levels, Welsh language, Welsh literature, and I forgot what the other one was. To be fair, I stayed on at school so I could have another year of playing for the Welsh schoolboys team. And don't forget, I live on the west coast of Wales, quite high up, just underneath where the Arm comes out in Wales. In a little village, a Welsh-speaking village, come from a Welsh-speaking family. Must have been about 2,000 people in the village.
Right.
But I was playing for the men's team in Harlech, which played in the Carnarvon District League, which, believe you me, toughened you right up. Do you know what I mean?
So you're only playing like local, non-league football.
Yeah,
It's not an academy.
No,
as such.
no such thing back then. Never got asked to go to Wrexham, which was just over an hour away from where I was. Never got asked to go to Swansea or Cardiff, which you'd have thought you might have done. Shrewsbury weren't too far. Anyway, the manager of the Welsh under-18s professional team was a fella called Wyn Owen from Carnarvon, and he was best mates with Tom Whalley, who was youth team manager at Watford.
Right.
So I think Wyn had got Malcolm Allen there. He'd got Malcolm Allen to Watford. I think
He's from around your way, then?
he's from not far from Snowdonia. Not far. I'd played against Malcolm a few times growing up in the local leagues in North Wales.
Far from Snowdonia. That just sounds like a world away to me. But
But I didn't know him. We didn't go to school together, but we played against each other a few times.
Right, yeah.
So anyway,
Did you
Wyn...
have to pack an overnight bag?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So Wyn rang Tom, got a big centre forward. Of course, back in the day, Watford were a little bit direct, like big Ross Jenkins.
Just a little bit.
West. Yeah. So he's right down your street. Not very quick, but you know he's decent in the air. Blah blah
Good
blah.
looking.
Yeah, I had all my own teeth back then as well, back in the day. So I went down, had a couple of games, and at 17 they decided to give me a year's apprenticeship, but it was a massive move.
Apprenticeship, so there wasn't
It weren't a
professional contract.
no,
as such.
no, it's just a year's apprenticeship.
Right.
And you think you're talking 5 hours from
Yeah, it's a big move.
the
Isn't
village.
it?
Yeah, it's a huge move, and I'm like with
What, living in digs?
living in digs, lived with Warrell Sterling,
Yeah.
that little right winger, a lad from Highbury, Stevie Thorne, was a proper Cockney geezer. Do you know what I mean? His old man was a black cabbie driver. And back then, I think 99% of the lads were from the London area.
Yeah.
Like Tim Sherwood was an apprenticeship at the same time. The Holsworth twins were from the East End.
Yeah.
There was myself and a lad called Neil Dougherty who lived in Barrow-in-Furness. We were the only sort of outsiders in that dressing room. But I tell you what, even though, for the first 2 weeks, I rang home every day. I can't settle, I want to come home. And it's not as if you've got
That's not
mobile.
surprising,
You've got to find a kiosk back then. There's no mobile phones, is there? Anyway, I settled down. I was lucky.
You're not allowed to use the house phone in your digs? Wouldn't they like...
You could have, but they can hear everything you're saying, can't you?
Well, not if you're
To
sticking
be
them
fair,
out.
I used to go out.
Yeah, true, yeah, I didn't think of that.
When I was in digs, I used to go use the telephone box. You can't use theirs, using their money, isn't it?
They only pay for your food and your bed. And
Tell me this, was Malcolm Allen a Welsh speaker as well?
yeah, he was fluent Welsh, yeah. Which Tom Whalley's a fluent Welsh speaker, so that definitely...
So that'd help.
And Malcolm helped me settle down, to be fair. He did help me settle.
Funny guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good lad. Good lad.
Well, that's something that's worked well for you, that's the Welsh speaking, hasn't it,
Well,
down the line? But
we used to speak Welsh on the pitch, you see.
right.
Like whenever you see players, because back then it was like the old reserves, but a really good league, because you used to get experienced pros sort of coming back from injury. I remember playing against, do you remember Mickey Droy?
Oh,
Exactly.
Unit.
Exactly, at Chelsea. Played against Graham Roberts, like Paul Miller.
Yeah.
Absolute animals.
Mickey Joy and Steve Wicks it was for Chelsea.
He was the blonde
bombshell. And Mickey Joy was
But it was
Andre the Giant, wasn't he?
They go on about under 23s and under 21s now. I tell you what, give me that reserve league any day of the week. Because you're playing at the stadiums. Okay, there might not be many there. Might be 3/4 empty or even 90% empty. But as I say, it's playing against experienced pros who are no nonsense, who were going to go straight through you. Yeah. It was brilliant.
David James was also coming through.
Yeah, he was.
Keeper.
He was a young lad, David. What an athlete, by the way. I think he did the high jump for England and he threw the javelin. But I tell you what, he's a really good artist.
Yeah.
I've got a photo at home that he sort of not painted. It's all done with pencil. Just of me in my Watford kit. A talented lad. Wow. Good with his hands.
Rod Thomas, another one.
Rod Thomas. I mean, he was the next big thing. Next big thing was he's a Wembley boy. Broke into the first team when he was 16. He was about 5'7", 5'8". He was absolutely rapid, and he was going to be the next John Barnes.
They beat us in the cup final, youth cup final, in '87. I was at Man City.
Ah, okay.
And the second leg was at Watford's ground.
Did you beat them?
No, they beat us.
Because they lost to Newcastle a couple of years before. And I think Gazza played for Newcastle. I just missed out on that one in '87. Yeah, that's from Man City. But he was a little pocket rocket, and he'd have played above his age group at the time then, wouldn't he?
That's right.
I mean, he was going to be the next John Barnes. Balance, pace, great right foot. Just got things a little bit too early.
Yeah.
Got carried away with everything. Maybe things got to his head. I think he ended up playing for Carlisle and then just petering out sort of thing. Yeah, career finished.
So talk to us about your debut then for...
Well, see, a lot of people think, right,
my
debut was against Man U when I came off the bench and scored. But my debut was against Big Terry Butcher. Oh. Yeah. I got told Colin West was injured. I got told on the Friday from Graham Taylor. Graham would never name the team until the day before. But he wanted my mum and dad to travel all the way down from North Wales to see me have my debut. So he said, right, pulled me in the office after training. He said, listen, you're starting tomorrow against Ipswich. Ring your mum and dad now from my office phone. Tell them we booked them a hotel room in the Hilton Hotel in Watford. Close playing for everything, which was brilliant, you know what I mean?
That's good, isn't it?
Which was brilliant, to be fair. Made me debut against Ipswich. We drew 0-0.
Who's that?
So-
Butcher and Osman?
I'm not sure who the other centre-half was, but Terry Butcher was...
But you're thinking at the time, can I start next week?
You know what? Honestly, lads, he was an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, he's meant to be a decent fella, isn't he?
He talked to me throughout the game. Say if I sort of just nicked one in the air, oh, good header, big man. Couldn't beat you there. Or if you had a good first touch,
You can't imagine that being that nice.
honestly, he was an absolute pleasure to play against because I'd watched him play.
You don't say that very often, do you?
Watch him play for England with a headband covered in blood. Or that was a little bit after that.
He wasn't thuggish, though.
He wasn't.
Was
You know,
just like a big lad.
never came through me or never laid a glove on me really, which
He didn't need to.
I think he was worried what the reaction might have been.
Yeah, possibly. What was the score?
0-0.
Right.
Yeah, but I did all right. But that because I think it might have been the Easter period where we had Arsenal away on the Monday, and I was going to be starting that. So my mum and dad went back to North Wales after the game, and the few of us had arranged to go out for a pizza in St Albans on the Saturday night. And you know the rules, you can't come out, you can't be seen in a licensed premises 40 hours before the game, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's about 7 of us. We've gone into St Albans, gone to the pizza restaurant, table's not quite ready. So what we've done, we've gone to the pub next door, had a soft drink while they were... I swear to God. The other lads were drinking, but I had I think, soft Coke or whatever. Anyway,
Soft Heineken.
we didn't know. Tom had spies.
Heineken top.
Tom had spies everywhere. And there was this lad called Barry the Boxer, and we didn't know at the time that he was in the same pub as us. That
Writing
specific
down
moment.
what everyone's having.
I'm ringing Tom up saying, I've just seen all the lads out. Anyway, we were in on the Sunday, and the lad who I lived with, Stevie Thorne, who was out with us, he's come running up towards me as I've got into training. He's gone, Robbo, Tom knows everything. He's like North London accent.
That's not bad, that's
And what do you mean? He said, he knows we were out, he knows who was there. And I'm like, fucking hell. I'm supposed to play against Arsenal on. So Graham Taylor's called a meeting in the home dressing room at Vicarage Road. Everybody's in there, all the senior pros, the staff, and absolutely tore us to pieces. Fucking hammered Tim Sherwood, best not first time you've been out. You made your debut, fucking big time Charlie. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I didn't play against Arsenal.
You got the hook.
I got the hook, yeah.
The old shepherd's
yeah.
hook.
He put Malcolm Allen in front of me.
Did he hook all 7 of them then, or what?
Well, no, they weren't playing.
Right.
I was the only one. They weren't involved in the squad, you see, because they were 17, 18. I'd made my debut on a Saturday.
You're the only one.
Yeah, I'm the only one going to be involved against Arsenal. Dropped me, put me on the bench. Malcolm played in front of me. Malcolm scored. Never did that ever again. Learned my lesson there and then. Learned my lesson.
What was he like, Graham Taylor?
Great bloke.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, a gentleman. Always used to ask how your parents were. Don't get me wrong, he had a side to him, and I don't care who you were as a professional. Like, you could be the best player. You did not want to. And we had like people like Tony Coulton, obviously John Barnes, Luther Blissett. There's some top players there. They would never, ever cross him. And he weren't the biggest man, but oh my, he had a scary side to him that you didn't want to see. But I tell you what a lovely fella.
Brilliant. Did you ever meet Elton John, by the way?
We a few times. We went to before every start of the season. He had this massive house in Windsor, and he'd have a party for all the staff. I mean, it's not like football clubs now where there's staff everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like maybe a couple of hundred with the players and their families, and he'd put this big marquee, and there'd always be a theme to it. That the people serving the food and the drinks would all get dressed up. And he had, do you remember is it Sinclair C5s?
Yeah.
He had about 7 of them.
Right.
And he had a little sort of...
Race.
Yeah, the lads were loving it, honestly, racing each other in these Sinclair C5s. He took us to, I think it was a season Graham Taylor left. I think it was my second season. We were due to go to China on an end-of-season tour. And obviously Graham went to Villa. So we didn't have a manager to take us. So Elton John went, well, I'll take the lads. So there was him and what was his agent called? John Reed. Yeah, John Reed. So there's him and John Reed. I think there must have been maybe Steve Harrison or John Ward overseeing everything. But the first training session we had.
Elton John.
Yeah,
his tracksuit and all that.
No, he had these massive like boiler suits that he used to travel around in, and the cases that he used to bring. Oh my! He had a case for his glasses, case for his hats. But such a nice man. Anyway, the first training session we had.
He didn't take it.
No, he joined in. So he's running around in this massive boiler suit with one of his hats on, with his sunglasses on, and someone sort of didn't put quite enough on the pass to him. Tim Shulman's gone straight through him. Oh, my God. I swear to God, he's gone straight through him. He's got up, he's limping. I'm all right. And Billy, the physio, I can't remember what his second name was. I don't know. He's come on and said, listen, you better come off. Chairman, you better come off.
Yeah.
But he bought us all a little Ming vase, all the squad, and still up. Mum's got it in her house. It'd be worth a few quid now.
He didn't sing any songs to you.
He did. Oh, yeah. There's
you know, like he
yeah. We were
noted for a famous song, changing the words.
We were in this hotel, and they had a piano bar upstairs. So one night we're in there, and he's singing all these songs. We're all sat round in a little semicircle. Anyway, Joe Publix walked in, didn't he? And he's tapped someone on the shoulder. He's gone, Elton John, Watford Football Club. I don't, we know we're the players, you egg. So, and it's not nowadays. You just have your camera phone, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So he's gone out, gone back to his room, got his big old camera, and he's in that much of a rush, and they had like sliding doors. So he's running back towards the room, didn't realise that someone had closed the doors, and gone bang! We saw him the next day, his nose was all over his face, he had 2 black eyes. But yeah, he sang us a few songs, gave us our own little personal concert, bless him.
You and my brother, you are. He didn't sing that.
I didn't have my eyes, that's lost on me, I tell you.
That's one of his best songs,
Rocket Man?
No, not Rocket Man.
Tags the crooner.
Yeah?
He was on in concert, and Mrs. went to see him last Saturday.
It's
Still
not
going, isn't he?
It's not true about that people reckon all Welshmen can sing. This one can't. This one can definitely sing, so I never joined in.
You're admitting that?
Yeah,
You're not bad. You can croon a little bit, Tags, can't you?
I don't mind banging out the old karaoke number here and there. But
I'm in your camp, Ewan. Leave it, mate. Leave it. But anyway, on to footballing matters.
Go on.
Watford had a good time there. Decent enough time, didn't you?
It was the best
good,
sort of
good starting
good education
ground for you, isn't it? Yeah.
It was. I can't even say that word properly. But yeah, it was a good sort of upbringing, a good start. Right and wrongs, how to, especially with grade, not just how to conduct yourself on the pitch, but probably most importantly, how to behave off it, sort of thing. After that little misdemeanor, of course. Yeah. I think those were the biggest life lessons I learned. Didn't play as many games as I would have liked. I think just short of 70. I think only 9 goals, which for the centre forward isn't a great ratio. But yeah, it was a good way to start.
Yeah.
It was a good way to start.
Yeah, good ground in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, some of the pros there.
You think?
Did you play with Steve Sims?
Simsy, he used to say we'd have
Leicester City.
we'd have a practice game, and he'd be marking me from a corner, or I'd be marking him from a corner. He'd be like, he'd be looking at an aeroplane. He'd be like, I wonder where that's going to, and I'd be like, what, Simsy, what? And then he's gone, and he's gone like, okay, he's done me again.
Yeah, good lad, Steve. He was involved in the coaching staff here for a little while, wasn't he? Used to.
I think Graham Taylor Taylor took him to Villa. I think he was at Lincoln with Graham Taylor, took him to Watford, took him to Villa. But signed Mark Falco. Against
Spurs.
I mean, best header of a ball I've ever seen. And I remember in his first training session, we'd finished. Anyway,
Who's this, Falco?
Yeah, Mark Falco, and he was coming towards the end of his career. Then he'd been a top player at Spurs and won the UEFA Cup and FA Cup and stuff like that. And I can remember after the first training session we had, he sort of pulled a couple of lads, can just cross me ball from both wings. And he must have been out there for about 45 minutes, just back post, bang.
Loved it.
And I'm like, if that's good enough for him, that's got to be good enough for someone like me starting my career.
Yeah, it's good though, isn't it? Like, just little bits like that. I mean, obviously you recognised it, but you probably didn't think too deeply about it, but you just see something, yeah, I won't mind a bit of that. And before you know it, that's a big influence on your career, isn't it?
Probably more of his technique of heading the ball, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
And the height he used to get, honestly, it was incredible. Incredible.
Leap. None of us had that spring as such, did we? You could hang there for a bit, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could.
I needed tags to lift me up, and vice versa.
Which, as you can imagine, was no easy feat, even in his prime.
Harder these days, mate. Harder these
I'm not
days.
sure I had a prime, to be fair.
So how did you leaving Watford come about then?
It got to the stage where I must have been about 21, played a handful of games, and I needed my career to start, really.
So you were in and out of the team?
Yeah.
For most year.
And I think it was Dave Bassett. I think he'd taken over from Graham Taylor, and he'd had a tough time. And Harry's a good bloke, and I got on really well with him. Didn't get a chance. It was always going to be hard for someone who ever took after Graham Taylor. Anyway, Colin Lee, who was the youth team manager at the time, who I got on really well with when he was youth team manager, all of a sudden he was promoted to first team manager, and his assistant was a fellow called David Hay, ex-Celtic player. Yeah. I didn't really...
Chelsea, wasn't he? Chelsea Celtic as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's probably where the connection was, because Colin played for Chelsea. I didn't really hit it off with him. I don't know why. Anyway, it got to the stage where Colin had said to David Hay, tell that they used to call me Uzi back then at Watford, not Robbo, Uzi. Yeah, I didn't like that nickname. It's a bit soft, isn't it, Uzi?
As in...
Just short for Iwan, I think.
Oh, I was thinking as in Mark Hughes, understudy as such.
No, I wish. He basically told me that I wouldn't even get in Colin's reserve team. So if I can't get in the first team, if I can't get in the reserve team, what's the point of me being here?
Reserve team. There's only 18 pros on the club.
Yes.
Struggling.
It's a bit harsh, though.
Yeah, a little bit. I hadn't done anything wrong, really. I wasn't a young kid. I wasn't a troublemaker. I didn't have a reason to throw my toys out of the pram.
Maybe he heard that you'd been out on a Saturday night and had a soft drink.
But I'd learnt my lesson from that.
That's why you wouldn't get
having proper drinks.
That would never happen again, and it never did happen again. Anyway, I think the only club that came in for me were Huddersfield. So like,
what league were they in?
They were in League One, the old third sort of thing.
Old third division,
yeah. Owen Hand, great bloke. Republic of Ireland, a Dubliner. I think the old Republic of Ireland manager, wasn't he? Yeah. Went up there, and I wasn't too sure, but I thought, well, my career's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And they'd sold Craig Maskell.
Yeah.
And he was an absolute hero up there. I can't remember where they'd sold him for, but he'd scored a bag full of goals in his time there. And they were signing me for a then club record fee of, I think it was about 250 grand, which is peanuts now, isn't it? And they were expecting big things, I tell you. And they got a big thing. I was about 2 stone overweight. I think, what did I get? I got about 15 goals in my first season, which nowadays ain't bad. What did they say? They would expect, for 250 grand, they were expecting Maradona to walk through the door, and they got Madonna. Honestly, and a fat Donna. He liked the Donna. Donna
kebab, yeah.
So for the first 6 months, oh my God, I was getting slaughtered. I was off back to Watford, useless, blah, one thing or another. And it affects you, you know, it's like, you're in the dressing room before the game at home.
Young boy still, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and I'm like, what they're going to say? What they're going to say today? You're in the toilet, and I might be being a little bit dramatic, and you like feel sick and anxious, and that's no way to go out and play a game. But I got through it. I thought, I'll show you. I remember we played Bradford away at Valley Parade, and that's a little bit of a derby, Bradford Huddersfield,
yeah,
like a West Yorkshire derby. And you know at Bradford, you come out the corner, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, we've first half we're losing 2-0, and we've got half the ground, and we're walking up towards the tunnel, and all our fans are behind the goal there. And there's only one person that's getting hammered, and that's everything's aimed at me. And I'm like, here we go again. Yeah, how's it my fault? We've conceded 2. Blame the defenders, blame the centre halves. They're getting away with it. Anyway, we came back out second half. We drew the game 2-2, and I scored both goals.
Right.
And I sort of, touch wood, that was the start of my career with them. I sort of slowly won them over, and it was sort of due to those 2 goals against Bradford.
Lost a bit of weight as well.
True. Because I always I had a bad habit, right, when I was a young lad, even as a young pro, I would wake up sort of 2 o'clock most nights and have a Mars bar and a can of Coke.
What?
Yeah, honestly, but it became a habit. 2 in the morning.
You set your alarm by it?
No, you just wake up. I don't know why.
You wouldn't have found me waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mars bar, and there was no Diet Coke or Coke Zero. It was a full fat Coke. No, I was like 2 stone overweight.
I was going to say some nights you wouldn't have got me I wouldn't have been in the house at 2 o'clock.
No, exactly, yeah.
Never
That's
mind.
more like it, isn't it?
Waking up.
That's more like it. It's funny, the weight issues, though. It's constantly a problem for me, probably the same with you.
Yeah.
Like that. I remember at Torquay, I was left at the end of the season 14 stone 5, came back 6 weeks later 15 stone 9.
Ian,
I was like,
Ian, seriously, we used to get wed on a Friday, on Monday, but on a Friday, so he'd starve himself on a Thursday, right? Go in, he'd be the first one in to go and get wed, and everything be, yeah, okay.
What, is not, no witnesses?
No.
It was all your scores were published to all the rest of the players. Everyone knew who weighed what. Go training, come back in. He'd sit there with 2 plates of food every Friday, 2 full plates of food, trying to recover from starving himself on a Thursday.
Or the third one with the bread on as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good day before the game, but... And then on a Monday as well, wouldn't it? Rehydration and stuff.
See, that's poor though on a Monday. I mean...
I would eat after the game. Obviously lost weight. Then I'd pile it on, whatever, and go out for a curry, whatever, and then wake up Sunday.
We've got bad
Sunday,
metabolism, or whatever they call
7
it.
pounds overweight.
Good weekend, matey.
But I wouldn't drink or eat anything till Monday lunchtime after training. So by the time I got Monday morning, I was back down, dehydrated as anything.
See, I fell out with a
sports
scientist at Watford because of all this weighing. Because he used to do it before the game. And I'm like, whoa. Because if I was...
You don't want to know if you are.
If I was 14, if I was between 13.10 and 14, if I was anything below 13.10, it would be a miracle. But if I was anything in between that, I'm in a good place mentally.
Yeah.
If I get on those scales and I'm 14.1, I'm like, you might as well not play me. Because that's playing on my mind. I said, Dave, I'm not getting on the scales, mate. I'm not doing it.
That's pointless. You are what you are, aren't you?
Before the game.
No, not
What's he going to do? What's he going to say to you? You need to go in the...
You might have got...
You need to get in the sauna.
Yeah, exactly.
I might have got fined. I'm not too sure, but I had a chat with Nigel Worthington about it. I said, Gaff, it's just ruining me going on there if I'm overweight.
Bunkers.
Weigh me on a Friday if you want, fair enough, and find me if I'm overweight on a Friday or a Monday. But don't do it 10 to 2 or 10 to 3 before we go out to play a game.
No, bunkers.
You got things going at Huddersfield anyway.
Yeah, my second season, the best one that I've had as a professional. Got 34 goals. We had a good side, and still now, I look back now and the team that we had, Peter Jackson, Simon Charlton went on to play left back at Southampton for many years. We had Simon Trevitt, who, until he done his cruciate ligament in a pre-season friendly, back then, if you did your cruciate, well, if you had a cartilage, it could finish you back then. He did his cruciate ligament jumping over, like, you see the little strip of red and white thing you've got, played a pre-season friendly somewhere. He just jumped over that, and he landed further in his leg than his cruciate. He definitely would have played at a much higher level. We had Chris Marsden, little
Southampton.
Yeah, great left foot. Phil Starbuck.
Yeah.
Signed Starby from Nottingham Forest. Technically, really, really good player. There's great strike on him. Ife Onura. And if he was a good lad, if he was like, he's a clever, I don't know if you ever played.
What are you laughing at, Ife?
No. Remember the Ron Cup final where they had the sprint, they used to do the...
He did that. He was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
who's the lad?
John Williams, wasn't it?
Oh, John Williams.
John Williams, the postman, wasn't it? Yeah. He started at Swansea, went to Coventry. Anyway, Ife won our regional one, the West Yorkshire one. He had a physique. He never lifted a weight in his life, but he was just made out of marble. And he's a really nice lad, Liverpool boy, clever lad, went to university.
Works for the PFA now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah. Anyway, he obviously, so he's going to be at Wembley, isn't he, before the game, the Rumbelows Cup sprint final, blah, blah, blah.
Was, wasn't it?
So me and Jacko, he wasn't allowed to take his wife for the weekend. You're taking me and Jacko, we're coming with you. And you're getting pissed on the Saturday, I think if it's the Saturday, the game was on the Sunday, and you're coming out with us on the Saturday night. Anyway, so they're all there in the line, they've warmed up, they're going down. And for some reason, if he doesn't hear the gun going off,
No, all the build up.
he gets there. John Williams is finished, and if he's still starting, he's like, what? Can we not do it again? No.
Big occasion, yeah.
Your chance is gone, mate. Your chance is gone.
I mean, he didn't get much stick for that,
I
did
was
he?
going to say it, but he got on with it.
I mean, he's such a clever lad, but he didn't have much common sense.
Not literally the
John
whole
Williams
leg.
is dipping, and and Big If was still in his starting position.
That bad. It wasn't like he started,
No.
had a look round and 20 yards later.
He was crouching down. He was saying Bolt-like, but we were in the stand. And it was the old Wembley back there. We were absolutely...
I bet he didn't say nothing for a bit, did he? Just
he
like
got
looking at each other.
absolutely hammered. Maybe you should have had that 10th point last night.
I didn't know beer affected your ears, but there you go.
Pardon?
I nearly fell for it there.
That's tickle me, that one.
Oh, Big If.
You'd just be, like, even like 6 months later, you'd just be thinking about it. He would know, wouldn't he? If you just started giggling,
What do you
he'd know.
big John Williams, though?
Oh, he was a flyer, wasn't he, John Williams?
I mean, I think John was a little bit smaller in stature.
Ah, he's tall, lad. Not as built as
if he was 6'3", when if he was built,
6'3",
yeah, he was
was he?
built like a sprinter. Honestly,
Yeah, similar height, but
he'd have given him a good go, I think, if he could hear.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you scored, what was it, 34 goals?
34.
Nowhere near promotion, anything like that?
We
in that season?
finished third, and obviously first two go up, finished third. How have we finished third? We played Peterborough in the playoff semi-final. We drew 2-2 at their place, thinking, that's going to be enough. We'll beat them at Leeds Road, because it weren't like the John Smiths as it is now. I think we lost 1-0 or 2-1. Anyway, we lost that, and that's the closest we ever got with Huddersfield. I signed a new contract when Neil Warnock became manager, and I got on really well with I know he's said things and he's done things, but he's all right. Do you know what I mean? He sort of looked after me. To be fair, he
a lot
did.
of players say the same.
Yeah, he's
A lot of players.
A lot of players have played for him.
You'd like him, yeah.
I used to, I don't know if I liked or didn't like playing against his teams. I wanted to get one over on him.
Yeah.
He was the opposition manager.
Yeah.
But speak to other players, Keith Gillespie, for instance, he loved it under Sheffield United.
I mean, I got on really, really well with him. But within 4 months of me signing a new contract, they sold me to Leicester because he had to.
Well, you got paid up a little bit there then.
Yeah. Because he needed money to bring players that he wanted into, and the only offer that anybody had made for any of the players that were there were myself, sort of thing. I think it was Notts County, Leicester, and Coventry had sort of all put bids in for me.
Right.
And I went to all three in the same afternoon. Got in the car coming down the M1, went to Notts County, had a look around Meadow Lane. I think Russell Slade was there, kind of. What was the chairman called? Derek Pavis, I think. And he was like, I thought, this is nice. Anyway, for some reason, I still don't know why, right? Instead of going to Notts County, getting in the car, coming down the end, coming off at Junction 21, going to Filbert Street, I went straight to Coventry. And Phil Neal was the manager, and I went to their training ground. And I don't know what it was, like first impressions, and just weren't too sure about Phil Neal. I don't know why, because I'm a Liverpool fan. He's a Liverpool legend, but I'm like, nah, I'm not sure.
Not sure about him.
Yeah,
personality-wise.
a little bit, yeah. Got to Filbert Street, massive car park. They're just building the new carling stand. I'm like, I like this. And do you know what? I went straight into Brian Little's office, and his office was, where the carling stand and the Filbert Street end stand, it's the little stand. His office was just above there. And as soon as I met him, I'm like, I want to play for this bloke. He's such a gentleman, such a nice man. such a soft nature about him, but he had a side as well that you.
Some player as well, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, great winger, wasn't he? I just hit it off with him, and signed there and then. Got back into the car and got back to Huddersfield. Made my debut. Well, that was a Thursday. Made my debut against Wolves on the Saturday.
Yeah, I've just worked out something because I've been doing a little bit of research.
Yeah.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but your time at Wolves, which we'll come on to, you say like you haven't got or you weren't particularly keen on the Wolves supporters after you left there. Anyway, well, that might be part of the reason why they're a little bit harsh to you.
What, my debut?
But your debut, you scored 2 goals. They remember things like that.
That was. I mean, I hadn't scored on my debut for. It was the only time I scored on my debut in all 6 clubs. We're 2-0 down at half time. Stevie Bull scored 2. We're getting booed off, and I'm like, oh, what am I signing for here? I should have maybe gone to Coventry, moved down the M69. And back then, because it's a brand new stand, there was porter cabins that we used to get changed. Yeah. Anyway, and this was typical Brian, right? Didn't go mad, didn't raise his voice, took Colin Hill and Brian Carey off, brought on Larry and Richard Smith. Cool, calm. We went back out, drew the game 2-2. And as a centre forward, that first goal can't come soon enough. I mean, Norwich, it took me till November to get my first league goal. Once a bad start, getting slaughtered. Leicester, I scored 2 on my debut. I think the first header is probably one of the best headed goals I'd ever scored, right in front of the Kop as well. And then I can't remember who we played. I think we played Southend or someone away. My second game at Filbert Street, scored against Crystal Palace. So the Leicester fans just...
Bang, it was a good start.
It was a great start. I couldn't have wished for a better start. Well, I could have had a hat-trick on my debut, which I should have had.
That'd have been nice, wouldn't it? 2-0 down.
Honestly, and if you ever see the chance that I miss, you'd be like, did you miss that? Like Billy Philpotts.
The real Iwan Roberts show.
Yeah.
Colours, like.
That's what you've probably signed.
Were they both headers?
No, the first one was a header. The second one, I've sort of... Gary Mills, he made both. Great crosser of a ball. And I've sort of out-jumped the centre-half, knocked it down to David Speedy, who's missed from about 2 yards out. I think he's gone to head it. It's come off his shoulder. I've first to react, and I've smashed it into the roof of the net. Place has gone mad, but the one that I've missed, like Lee Philpott's gone down the left-hand side. He's put a great ball across the 6-yard box, and it's one of those, you know, before it's got to you, think, happy days, it's in already. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's that easy a chance. All I've got to do is make contact.
Would that have been your third?
That would have been the third, yeah.
Right.
I've made contact, 2 good contact, and it's gone straight into the Kop, innit? Honestly, I'm like, I mean, I got man of the match, and back then, you'd go to the gasworks, does that make sense? Yeah. Where you'd go there. No, I had to go to a hotel in the city centre to pick the man of the match award up, which didn't bother me at all. I should have had 3. And that does sort of, when I look back, does sort of rankle with me a little bit. I didn't score 3 on my debut.
There's certain games, isn't there? Even I have a couple that you look back on and it gives you the heebie-jeebies. You know what I mean? So that was obviously one of yours.
Yeah. As a centre forward, it was a great start. It was a great start. You start winning people over.
Helps, doesn't it?
Oh.
Here's a bit of trivia for you then, lads. Talking about porta cabins and getting changed. You remember the old Filbert Street dressing rooms? We used to have glass panelling, old wooden boards, and there used to be a glass panel when you went in.
They were brand new back then for me, wouldn't they?
But I mean, as an opposition player, playing at Filbert Street in the away dressing room.
I never played.
Very strange.
I never played as an away player at Filbert Street.
Yeah, very unique, very ornate sort of dressing room it was.
Yeah, thanks for that, Tugs. Anyway. But so you mentioned there, Speedy. So up to that point, had you always played in a pair up front?
Yeah.
More often than not, because that was the case.
Yeah, there's 2 up front.
Back in the day, that was regular, wasn't it?
4-4. too.
Yeah, standard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very occasionally come away from that. But the Speedy, interesting character.
Do you know what?
He's a bit of a boy, isn't he?
I loved him. I loved him. And he was great with me.
He was horrible to play against.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, man.
He was horrible to everybody in the dressing room bar me for some reason.
Even his own teammates, was he?
Yeah.
He looks that type.
You two would have hated him because
I've met him since, and he's sound.
he's
like,
mellowed out.
right, yeah. But
he was fiery. I tell you, he was a little Tasmanian devil.
Talk about Mark Falco being good in the air, but he was
He could hang.
unbelievable for the
Size of
size.
him.
He could hang.
he was some player as well, wasn't he? Speedy, he's a good player. Or not?
Oh, I know he's played. Yeah,
You disagree?
You look at the clubs he's played for.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Liverpool, Chelsea, Blackburn when they were.
Good combination, though. You two. Did you enjoy,
Yeah,
enjoy
big man
playing
was
with
a
him?
typical big man, little. I mean, we used to play hard on and off the pitch. I remember when we won.
He's going to be nice to you, by the way, isn't he?
Why?
Well, you were setting him up half the time.
Well,
with your flicks and
When we beat, who did we beat? We beat Tranmere in the semi-final of the playoffs to reach Wembley, and I hadn't played because I'd broken ribs.
see him myself.
Yeah.
Gerald.
Yeah.
So
I believe it's not like me, is it?
No.
I missed the last 6 games of my first season. Twatty had done my ribs at
Did
the Manor ground. Oh, he saw me coming a tree. I was
He was
too
just
nice.
clumsy.
He wasn't.
Nah, mate,
He
he's,
had that in his.
because I used to love taking 4 or 5 steps and running across centre half. Because you can see me coming, a little bit like that. You can. He's seen me coming a mile away. He's just gone.
Stick to
Oh, straight here.
Bang.
2 ribs.
All watching, you see.
And what was I saying? Speedo. Oh yeah. So after the semi-final, we had a day off on the Wednesday. I was going in for treatment. Gone in. It's about 10:30. Had a quick meeting, 10 minutes if that. Speedo's going down. There was a pub not far from Foss Park, and I can't remember what it was called now. Something Landing or something like that. He's going straight down there, and I'm like, oh, Speedo, I can't come. I've got to have treatment. And it was Alan Smith and Mick Yeoman, the 2 physios.
Yeah.
He's just gone. He's coming with me. He'll be in tomorrow for treatment. We were there from 11 o'clock in the morning till must have been 8 o'clock at night.
Well, it wasn't hard, was it, with them two?
They were.
with Alan and Mick.
And Mick, yeah, they're good lads, aren't they?
Mick was just happy to be there, wasn't he, really? Mick Yeoman. You know what I mean?
No, neither of you would have been there when.
I think I broke Mick Yeoman's ribs
had
as
a
well, you know. That's another story, totally.
Mick had a phobia for spiders, hated spiders. I remember Gary Parker finding this massive hairy thing in the dressing room up Beaver Drive.
Hang on a minute. There's a couple of connotations there.
What?
Going round and round. A massive hairy thing in Beaver Drive.
Spider.
You didn't say spider.
Massive hairy spider. He's picked it up. He's gone in the physio room. He's gone behind Mick, pulled his collar back, and just dropped the spider down. No. Oh, Mick's just frozen. Weren't breathing. That's typical Parks, though, isn't it? Typical Parks.
It is, yeah. I thought there was more to it.
Oh, no.
To be fair, that's enough.
Lucky Mick's still with us.
It's not nice for anyone, but we've got phobia. Oh, dear.
So did David Speedy used to bully you into going out with him then?
To be fair, I didn't take much bullying.
Yeah.
I didn't take much bullying.
No, I meant bullied the physio.
He bullied the physios to let me go, absolutely, yeah. Because I should have been. Well, to be fair, broken ribs, there's not a lot you
still
can
have
do.
an option of saying, no, I need physio on me.
But there's not a lot they can do, is there? Cracked ribs are cracked ribs, or broken ribs are broken ribs. You can't ultrasound. It's not going to fix it any quicker, is it? No. So we went out and got pissed. And we've just reached Wembley, so...
Guinness.
Just reached, and he'd been sent off in the game as well. He picked a fight with Eric Nixon, remember the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
He was another unit, wasn't he? Yeah. He was another unit, yeah. He picked a fight with him for some reason.
Yeah, not the best idea.
Both got sent off. So he was suspended for the final anyway, because him and Nixon got sent off for the fracas that had happened. So he knew that he weren't going to be involved in the final anyway. But yeah, he was great for me. He was great for me.
So you didn't feature in the final at all?
I did. I started. Because I literally...
And how were your ribs at that stage?
It was about 6 weeks. They're still a bit sore every now and then. I trained I think I trained 2 or 3 days before the final. On the day before the game, Brian's pulled me to one side and said, I want to start you tomorrow. How do you feel? I went, yeah, I'm all right, Gaffer, I'm all right. Fitness word, you can't do anything, can you, fitness-wise? So we're playing Derby as well, who are a good side. Yeah. Derby was spending sort of millions with the squad that they had. John Harks, Mark Pembridge. I mean, they had some big hitters, do you know what I mean? As little old Leicester, the old East Midlands Derby as well. That adds a little bit to it.
3 lumps up front, wasn't it?
Me, Ian Ormond, Roy who's 6 round, and Big Walshy. Big Walshy. And the club only signed me because Walshy, he'd sort of played up front, scored a few goals, done really well, done his cruise ship at Middlesbrough, I think it was. But then he was in a similar boat to me. He'd only trained for a handful of... But you know, Walshy's
that's constant Walshy.
Yeah, I mean, he'll...
Never properly fit.
He'd run through a brick wall for you, glass door for you, wouldn't he, Walshy? Anyway, yeah, he played 3 of us up front. So there was only... It weren't going to be pretty, was it? No. It weren't going to be pretty.
Doesn't matter, though, does it?
And I think Tommy Johnson went through... I mean, we could have been 2 or 3 down before Tommy's put them ahead. And then towards the end of the first half, I think it was either Ian Coatsworth or Simon Grayson who just put a ball in the box.
I think it was Larry.
I think it might have been Larry. And I was seeing Martin Taylor, the goalkeeper, coming out, and I'm just fucking clatting him. And it was Roger Milford's last game as referee. How he's not giving a free kick at his GBH. I mean, how he's not...
it.
So Walshy, it's bounced to Walshy. Walshy's headed it, and you got Paul Williams. And he had a bad haircut. He sort of shaved all his hair off, and he had this little line of hair there. He's gone to head it, and he's completely missed it.
I don't know what was that.
But I only lasted...
He just bounced, didn't he?
I definitely did something. Somehow. But, I mean, I lasted about maybe an hour, if that, and then they brought little Julian Joachim on, who terrorised him, to be fair. And he started the move for Walshy's second goal. He played it to Lowley. Lowley put a great ball in. Big Ian Ormond, good header, good save from the keeper. And Walshy's there. And do you know what? It couldn't have happened to a nicer player. And I know you two know him far better and have spent more time with Walshy than he deserved it for what he'd gone through that season with his cruise shirt and one thing, one of the injuries that he'd had. And
that's at that stage of his career. He had a whole other part of it after that.
He'd been at the club for nearly 10 years then, I think. So it was fitting that he scored both goals that won his promotion to the Premier League. Yeah,
to be fair, Walshy's been involved in lots of major moments.
Yeah, seen everything, isn't he, with the club? Yeah, seen everything.
And he was part of it. He was massively involved in it, wasn't he? You never think you see a front three. Walshy's the smallest out of the 3.
Imagine that these days.
Not marginally, but between you two.
Don't get me wrong. Me and Walshy, we were quite physical. Big Sticks was soft as shit, really.
Yeah.
Big Ian was
awkward, wasn't
yeah. He was a little bit softer than the two of us.
Yeah, still a handful in his own right, though, wasn't he?
What was he, 6'7"?
Yeah, 6'7", yeah.
Far off.
Good technique, by the way.
Yeah.
Feet,
lovely crouch job, wasn't it?
Lovely left foot. Went to, I think Brian took him to Villa, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Villa.
Yeah, he done all right. So, happy times to the playoff final. That was that year, but it was a bit of yo-yo time, wasn't it, for Leicester?
Yeah, it was a tough season.
Yeah.
It was a tough season, and we were favourites to go down, and I think we sort of not accepted that, because that'd be wrong. You still got to have the belief that you're more than capable of staying up. We probably didn't strengthen like we should have. I mean, I think the club paid £1.5 million for Mark Draper from Notts County. It was a good player. Good player.
Yeah, good footballer.
By far our best player.
Okay, wasn't
he? Yeah, honestly, great strike on him, great range of passing, could score you a goal. He was by far our best player. But you just got the feeling.
He was lively off the pitch as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or was he not?
Not quite.
I know a few things about him.
Not quite back then. He's not.
He was just warming up.
Because I think he was still living in Nottingham, you see.
Yeah.
So he was travelling in every day. But it was a tough season. We had some good results with Spurs.
Kitman.
Yeah, that's right.
Forest.
Notts Forest, yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, bizarrely. Over Notts County, around the houses.
But he got on really well with Richard Smith.
Right.
Those two were very thick as thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, thick as thieves. Two good lads. We had a good dressing room, but we just knew we weren't. It was going to be a struggle for us. It was going to be a struggle for us.
And then,
That sounds a bit defeatist, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
You sort
does.
of soon come to the realisation
Yeah.
when you're 4, 5,
you know
6
it's going to be
years
hard
in.
work,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're probably not
I think
conceding defeat straight
by
away.
sort of Christmas, New Year, we sort of had accepted our fate, really, that we needed a minor miracle to stay up. Is that your phone?
Yeah.
That should be a fine, by the way.
It's on silent.
He's trying to get away with
Well,
that,
it's
isn't
not, because I can hear it.
That's on silent. Well, it's on vibrate.
Right,
That's
on vibrate,
That's
yeah.
out of order, isn't it?
he? Get reprimanded later. He's palming it off. We're having a break. Yeah, so the following season, it was ended in relegation.
Yeah, what did I get? I think I got
What was the managerial situation there then? Losing track.
Brian started the season as manager, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he got the chance.
Went to Villa.
And you
Yeah.
couldn't. And we were gutted because I mean, he was such a good manager for us. I mean, on the third time of asking, we'd won, because that's the thing, the club had lost 2 playoff finals before that third one that we eventually won, sort of thing. Yeah, so we were gutted he was leaving, but we could understand he was going to his club. He's going to Villa, where he'd played and had great times there. And then we had Mark McGee.
It's Mark McGee coming in, isn't it? Yeah.
Under him, we played some really good. Probably in the season after, where we got up through the playoffs again, that we probably played some of the best stuff. I mean, he signed Stevie Corrick, a little Australian lad, good footballer. I think he signed the big goalkeeper, Zelko can't catch. We used to call him. But we had a
I hope he's not watching this.
big Zelko. He played Champions League winner.
Yeah, I know.
Went to AC Milan. I think he played 1 game for them, which was a Champions League second leg semi-final where they'd won the first one 4-0 or whatever. On the bench for the final, big Zelko. But we had a once again like you got people like Gary Parker, Muzzet, and Neil Lennon sort of joined in towards the end, or signed towards the end of the season. We had a good group, but
How did you find Mark McGee?
I liked him.
I've met him a couple of times personally. He's quite a character.
Yeah,
Isn't
because he tried to sign me when he was at Reading. I didn't know this, so obviously he sort of liked me as a player. I got on all right with Mark.
I thought he'd be good.
Guess
he's
who his
top class centre
guess
forward.
who his assistant was.
Oh, I should know. Thinking back.
We've spoken about him already, and this is how the world.
Colin Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got on all right with him. Told me I weren't good enough to get in the reserves. But
Gift and made up.
yeah. And we did as well. We did kiss and make up. I never pulled him up about it.
Yeah.
Didn't think I'd any
Did
need to.
he,
Nah, I
did he
didn't.
not pull you up and
No,
Yeah,
say,
you think
no,
he'd
nah,
mention it and say
nah.
fair play, wouldn't you? But mind just football, isn't it? Comes and goes, doesn't it?
Change like that, can't it?
Comes and goes.
Changes like that.
Yeah, but McGee as a manager, I was imagining as well for you, centre forward, because he was top class, wasn't
Yeah, but I mean,
he? He was a good player.
his teams did try and play at the back and tried to play possession-based football. And even though I'm a big lump up front, I quite like that.
Yeah.
I quite like that. But I mean, the difference between how sort of Brian left to go to Villa and how Mark left to go to Wolves.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans absolutely hammered him. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely slaughtered him because he was only here for 2 minutes, and they could see that we were building something special under him, and they would enjoy the way we were playing football. And for him to go within, I don't know how. It was only a few months to then go up the M6 to Wolves. Yeah,
Is that all he was there?
Yeah, he weren't here long. He weren't here long.
I remember it being quite volatile, even though from afar.
Oh yeah, it was. It's completely different to when Brian left, and then obviously we saw Martin.
Yeah.
Took over.
Martin comes.
How did you find Martin?
I like Martin.
Yeah.
I liked
Did
him.
he like you?
I think he
Did he
did.
speak to you?
I think he did.
On a regular basis?
Because I'd heard a few stories about him when he was at Norwich, and I might have told you this before. Midfielder Mike Milligan.
No, yeah, no.
And Millie
like this one.
Millie was a big Catholic, like, and well, he pretended he was a big Catholic. And I there was a game at Carrow Road, and they must have lost, and Millie must have had an absolute stinker. And they're in the dressing room after the game, and mine's gone to Millie. And sort of, are you going to church in the morning? And Millie's gone, yeah, Gaffer, why? He went, well, while you're there, pray for some fucking ability, will you? Oh, my God.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was vicious with his tongue, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And as you say, if he didn't like you, I don't think he liked Colin Hill. I think he thought Colin was a little bit soft as a centre-half. And Colin Hill was a nice bloke. But yeah,
Super nice.
Martin never took to him. But I got on really well with Martin. I mean, him, Steve Alford, John Robertson, they were good people, good footballing people.
Oh, Robbo, yeah.
Ah, honestly. Steve Alford, even there with his cigarettes.
Yeah, what a mix, what a trio.
Yeah.
I mean, because...
Imagine them three in the game
John-
today. Doing the same thing.
Certainly Robbo and Wally.
Rob would come out on a Friday where you'd have your small-sided game. He'd come out in his suit with a big Fox leisure coats on. He'd put his turned-up suit trousers into his socks and join in his suit.
Still be the best player.
Oh,
Unbelievable ability, Robbo.
I mean,
Feed the bear.
I think that's why. Because if you ask Martin O'Neill, you probably have done. He was the best player at Forest by a country mile.
Yeah.
If he was fit, they knew they had a great chance of. And what?
He was the best player at Leicester.
Joined in at
training
Cards.
ground. He was 48.
He used to join in the card school as well at the back of the.
Oh, he
Oh,
always,
yeah.
Love the card school, didn't
Yeah.
he always got stitched.
Yes.
Lads used to play. I didn't get involved too much occasionally. I learnt my lesson because I got a whipping a couple
he?
of
Did
times.
you get
So I
stoned?
moved further down the coach. And Robbo couldn't resist it.
Couldn't resist it.
He'd go up. He used to play this game called Skank. And it was what it sounds like. You got stitched pretty quick. So Robbo had lost about 30 quid or something before, and he'd be sitting there festering. Here, Marshall. Oh, unlucky lads, unlucky. He's fuming. So one time he said to me, Matty, lend me 50 quid. I was like, 50 quid? What? He said, come on. So I give it him. 5 minutes later, back down the coach. And then
Lost it like that.
Oh, not even that long.
A Marshall.
Yeah, Robbo. And he's going,
Off you pop.
yeah.
Off you pop, Robbo.
He's going, that Marshall. I fucking hate that Marshall. I can't do it. Fuming.
And I can see that as well.
Every away trip.
If he's in your ear all the time with that Scouse accent.
Yeah.
But he borrowed money off different players every trip, because he run out of fortune. Oh dear. Robbo, some character. Struggling a bit now, apparently, isn't
Is
he? Yeah, but he's still cracking on.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
Top guy.
a good team, the three of them.
Oh, yeah.
They were a good team,
Yeah.
the three of them were top class, to be fair.
Top guy.
Yeah, certainly we had experiences, didn't we? I mean, many more, but
So how did you come about leaving Leicester in the end then, you?
Well, I
How
was
did
at
that come about?
I was out of contract.
I didn't realise. Sorry, just flipping back quick. You played with Muzzy and Lenny and that period,
towards
didn't you?
the end
I
of
thought
my
you left
career,
before.
yeah.
But he missed out in the playoff final against Palace.
Yes, I did. I was fit,
Ish.
but I hadn't trained. That's it, ish, yeah. And I think because Stevie Claridge was always going to start, and Martin had a decision to make whether myself or Mark Robbins was going to be on the bench. It was either going to be one of us. So he pulled me aside the day of the game. He said, "Listen, how you feeling?" I said, "Yeah, not too bad, Gaffer. I'm probably trained the day before." He said, "Can you give me what can you give me?" And I'm like,
That was a favourite of his, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
I said, "Well,
20 minutes.
yeah, maybe 15, 20 minutes, Gaffer. And then if we need a goal or if we're chasing the game." He's gone, right. He said, what about if Claridge, because he'd always call someone by his surname, what about if Claridge comes off after 5 minutes? I went, Gaffer, you'd be taking me off at half time then, because there's no way I could last. Wembley, baking hot. He went, sort of, thanks for your honesty. Didn't say a word. When it came to name the team, and as he did like an hour before kick-off, we sort of knew. I think for that game, he sort of changed his way a little bit. He sort of named the team, but we hadn't never clue.
Esky was around then as well.
Yeah. Freak of nature, by the way.
Oh,
Any distance, doesn't matter what it is. 50 yards, marathon, he'd be first.
yeah.
He was
I don't remember him
unbelievable.
being exceptional at long distance.
Maybe now,
Oh, no, he was...
Any distance he needed to do, he could do.
say a 400-metre run.
Oh yeah,
Track,
oh yeah.
or an 800 or a 1500. He was, what an athlete.
Yeah, I think he was even better at Leicester than he was at the other Cups. He was raw, wasn't he?
Yeah.
When he was
Just
young.
raw.
Scary.
His debut, we played Norwich at Filbert Street. I was at the game live on TV as well, and it was the game that Martin O'Neill should have taken, because he was manager of Norwich at the time. Didn't travel up with the team.
Yeah.
I can't remember who took them anyway. We beat them 3-2, and then within a few days he was announced as our new manager. But Emmy came on. He came on as a sub. I think scored the winner. Went past big Brian Gurn, and he weren't as big as what he is now. I won't mind me saying. Went back and finished it, but he was just raw enthusiasm, pace, and it was weird because he was strong as an ox, but never really did weights.
No.
Back then, anyway, when he was, I think he must have been about 17 when he first got into the side. But you could tell then he's one special talent.
Oh, yeah.
He is one special talent.
Yeah, he didn't do bad, Emil, did he?
No.
Eh?
Carved the living out.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Yeah.
You mentioned, just quickly there before we got to Wolves, one more thing about your time.
About how
What
I
about
left.
with
How I
Jockey?
left.
Well, also with Julian Joachim.
Yeah, little
Sort of
jockey.
him,
Yeah.
Getting big man, little man partnership.
And because he went to Villa out with Brian as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
Jockey's still around, still.
Is he?
Well,
He's a Boston boy, isn't he?
he's a Boston boy originally. Yeah, you always associate him with being Leicester. But
I mean, he had a hammer of a right foot, balance, obviously great movement, rapid. But the way
I think he's still playing.
I didn't want to leave.
Yeah,
sorry.
he's still fit, by the way. He's 47, 48, and he is still fit.
Still playing locally.
I mean, he carried a little bit of weight when he was a little bit younger, I think.
a little bit tubby.
A little, because he weren't the tallest, was he? Anyway, I didn't play the final. We won 2-1. Claridge with that Shinner in a dying desk. We've gone up, so we've had a great night after it. I was out of contract. I sort of had a bit of a falling out with the then chairman, Martin George, who I'd heard had said something that I sort of was disappointed in someone of his sort of position saying. In my 2.5 years here, I'd finished top scorer in every year, and because I didn't use an agent when I first signed, I didn't have they do. If you get promoted, your wages go up, blah blah blah. So I was on sort of when I first signed, £800 a week, which was a lot of money from what I was at Huddersfield. But then I was playing in the Premier League on the same wage sort of thing, which is fine. Didn't bother me at all. And then when we got relegated from the Premier League, still £800. But then I thought, right, we've won promotion again. I've got 20 goals, and the first offer was poor, and I was really disappointed. You know what I mean? So put both things together: the poor offer from the club of a new contract, the thing that Martin George had said before the game at Wembley. David Speedy was my agent then. Little Speedo was my agent. He'd got his license or whatever. So he helped me out.
Did he bully somebody into giving him a license?
Yeah.
So he'd been, because he got on well with Mark McGee and Colin Lee. I think he must have played with Colin at Chelsea, or knew Colin at Chelsea. So he knew that Wolves were interested, and they made a good offer. And I hadn't really sort of earned decent money up until then, sort of thing. And it was an offer that I couldn't turn down. Yeah, I was dropping down back into the Championship. And do you know what? Looking back, because I know the success that you boys then went on and had as a football club, it is the main. I haven't got many regrets in my career, in 20 years of playing or whatever. But I look back now, and I should never have left. I should never ever have left.
You could have stayed.
I could have stayed, yeah. Because
Martin
went, listen, yeah, you're not happy with the first offer, but we can negotiate. But then I just got it into my head then. I can be stubborn when I want to. Now, Wolves have offered me that. So I went, probably went for the money. Yeah, probably went for the money.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Well, any stage.
But I do regret it. I should never have. I look like the League Cup finals that you boys won, where you finished in the Premier League. Missed out on a lot, you know what I mean?
We could have had you as a teammate rather than Marshall.
Yeah, that's why you went out and signed
Ian Marshall.
Yeah, that's why he went out and signed Ian Marshall. I've seen Martin after. He said, I would never have signed Ian Marshall if you'd signed your contract.
Yeah. Personally, I'd have had you over Marshy all day long, and I hope you are listening, Marshy.
I love you, Marshall. but he's right.
That's how it goes. So the Wolves, going on from there, started all right though, didn't it?
I didn't score my first 8 games, so not really.
Right,
No,
sorry. I'll retract that then.
But I was playing with Stevie Bull, wasn't I?
Right.
I was playing with Stevie Bull, so it doesn't matter if he's going to score.
Feeder, ain't
My first game we played Grimsby away, we win 3-1, Bully gets hat-trick. Scores in the first game of the season at Molyneux, scores a winner against Bradford. And my first goal came in my 9th game at the Manor Ground. Don't think you were playing, thank God, at Oxford. No. Scored my first goal there.
What season was that, Ian? Sorry.
Oh, that would have been 96, 97.
Right.
96,
So
97.
you'd have still been there.
Yeah, I should have been around that time.
Probably why I did get my first goal then.
I remember playing on a Tuesday night against Wolves.
Yeah, I think that was it. Early
Yeah,
doors,
I was playing.
It was Tuesday night.
I was playing because I remember people building it up, like you're playing against Steve.
All I can remember, I didn't have to do a lot to lose the defender. That's all I can remember. Yeah. A little bit of a drop the shoulder. Yeah.
Ribs are all right.
Had you been playing, it would have been different times. I'd have had to work a lot harder, but I didn't have to do a lot to.
I'll be a bit nicer this time.
I think there was a big lump at the back that they had. So I got my first goal, and then the game after we played West Brom at the Hawthorns. I think we had nearly 6. We had the whole of that back stand, and I get a hat-trick, didn't I, against West Brom.
Oh.
The only ever Wolves.
They still don't like you.
They did at the time. They did then. And to be fair, that's the thing, right? I didn't score for 9 games, not one bit of stick, did I take? Because we were winning
still
games.
Results.
Bully was scoring, so they were quite forgiving. But I scored a hat-trick at the Hawthorns. I think the only Wolves player ever to do so. Got one against West Brom, and you know what it's like. Some teams you always score against.
Yeah.
And at Filbert Street twice, I'd scored against West Brom. Thought I'd got my first hat-trick against West Brom for Leicester, but they didn't give me the third for to be fair, it was going wide until someone deflected it in. Mm-hmm. So I'd always scored against West Brom, and it's daft. Scored at the Hawthorns, scored at Filbert Street. I think I scored against them when I was at Huddersfield. Like a lucky side. Anyway, got a hat-trick and scored 1 in a 2-0 win at Molyneux. So scored 4 against them in 2 games that season. The Black Country Derby, I think they call it. And we had I mean, the best dressing room I've ever had has been at Leicester.
Yeah.
Best dressing room by a country mile. I mean, I've had good dressing rooms whenever I've played, to be fair, because you get on with your teammates. You might have 1 or 2 sort of bad apples, but the dressing room at Beaver Drive was quality, to be fair. Yeah. It was quality. But
I think that's the same with quite a lot of players.
Yeah, I bet.
Myself
just
included.
Good, just down-to-earth lads.
Especially playing at that level.
Yeah,
at a high level, you're expecting a bit of a change and a bit of
an ego in there. Yeah.
But could be further from the truth.
100%. I mean, and Wolves was the same. We had Don Goodman, Jeff Thomas. I mean, Don's a great lad. Dean Richards, bless him, who's no longer with us. And Dean, he'd signed for big money from Bradford, and probably a defender before his time, comfortable on the ball. We had Stevie Froggatt. Tony Daly, who suffered injury after injury, bless him, who would have gone on to achieve great things, I think. A.D. Williams had signed. Keith Curl had sort of come towards the end of his career there. So it was a good dressing room. It was a good dressing room, but we missed out on we should have won. Well, we should have won promotion. I think Barnsley pipped us that year.
That's right.
You finished second.
To be fair, those players you're mentioning there, you should be getting promotion.
Yeah, you're right.
I was at Bolton at the time.
Right. Oh, you signed. Right. Okay.
Bolton won the league. Barnsley came second.
We just missed out. Yeah.
Mike Stowell in nets.
Yes. Stowley and
of course. Yeah.
Andy Thompson. You had people like Simon Osborne, Neil Emblem. Yeah. So we had a good side, but I tell you what got us, the pressure of playing at home in front of the fans at Molyneux.
Yeah.
Expectancy. Yeah. I think we had best away record in the league, but at home we lost some games that we shouldn't have lost, and that was all because the pressure of like...
Went a bit wrong, they're on you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you hadn't scored within the first 15, 20 minutes, they were like bombarding you. And we finished third. We lost to Crystal Palace in the playoff semi-final. We lost 3-1 down there. Dougie Friedman scored 2 late on. And I think we beat them 2-1 at the Molineux in the second leg. Of course, went out on whatever it is, 4-3 on aggregate. And that's when Sir Jack Haywood, who'd pumped millions into the club, said, that's it, no more. I ain't putting any more money. You're going to have to sell.
These Muppets can't get us up.
Yeah, you're going to I ain't wasting any more. And he had his son, who was the chairman. A lot of people thought his son didn't really have a clue on how to run a football club sort of thing. Anyway, so he took, not putting any more money, you're going to have to sell before you buy in the next transfer window. And Norwich put an offer in for me, and even though I didn't want to go, I didn't want to leave. I'd just moved house to a place called Broseley near Telford. It was the closest club to my parents from North Wales, and because they'd had to travel here, there and everywhere to see me play. It was about an hour and a half down the road, so that was quite important that they got to see me towards the end of my career. And I couldn't have moved anywhere further, could I really?
No.
Jesus.
You don't mind a bit of travelling, do you? In your current role now.
But I remember, right, I went up on the Friday with David Speedy, met Speedo at Catering Services. I spoke to Mike Walker. He showed me around Conley, the training ground, which was a really nice one back then. So I didn't want to see Carroll because I'd played there a few times. And I said, yeah, agreed everything. And he wanted me to sign on the Friday. So let me go home. I'll come down Monday, speak to the family, and I'll definitely sign. Got in the car and I'm having doubts tonight. I'm like, second thoughts. So I've got in the car and I've got to within 15, 20 minutes of Norwich. I've pulled into a lay-by and I'm like, do I want to sign for Norwich? It's miles away. I must have been sat there for about 15, 20 minutes thinking, what do I do? In the end, I carried on going, signed the contract, and I was there for 7 years.
Yeah, that certainly worked out all right, didn't it?
But you're still there?
It's
things can happen, though. But you're right to take that time, aren't you?
But my
Let's
first...
consider, because...
Yeah, actually...
Well, it didn't start so well, maybe.
I was a year into a 3-year contract at Wolves. I hadn't asked to leave, didn't really want to leave, thought we had a good chance of winning promotion that season if they kept the...
But you literally don't get time to weigh everything up sometimes, do you? You know, consider the implications of it.
And he was saying, listen, Mark McGee was saying to me, listen, if it doesn't work out, you can come back and you can work or fight for your places like everybody else. But if they've accepted the bid, they're telling you really, you haven't got...
I was going to say, and in my experiences, you hear any negative news from a manager about your own personal position within a team, it's time to...
Yeah, pretty much, isn't it?
And that's what I thought, Tags. Exactly that. I thought, well, you don't really want me if you've accepted an offer. If you didn't want me to stay, you wouldn't have accepted the bid.
Yeah. Were you considering now, like your ginger hair and the yellow kit might clash a bit, thinking...
I was strawberry blonde back then,
sure if it's for me.
I had a few tints in it.
How are the fans going to react to me having to take my 2 front teeth out before I get...
Three.
How did that come about? Well,
elbow.
Was it?
Elbow, yeah.
When?
Was it in football?
Well, I'd lost one when I was younger. One of my main ones. What they call the two big ones.
Should know.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, so
Molars, incisors, it's not them, is it?
I was playing with my mates in the village, and I tripped my mate up, and as he's tripped, I've fallen after him. His heels caught me in one of my teeth. He's chipped it straight across. Anyway, within a few months, that gets infected. I get an abscess.
Silly question.
Yeah.
Does it hurt? Or do you not know?
I didn't know.
That's what I mean.
No, I didn't know. I had no idea. But then
it doesn't hurt the nerve, or the nerve just gets severed, does it, or what?
I don't know. But no, the nerves are still there because within a few months, I got an abscess. Fucking hell, it did, believe me.
That does it.
So, from about 12, I always had one missing. And I remember we were playing Exeter away in a pre-season friendly with Watford. We stayed at the university, and it's like we played them the last day before we go back the following day sort of thing. So we've got a night out planned that night, the only night out we could have had in 10 days because we're obviously pre-season, you're allowed to, but you can have one blowout sort of thing.
Get important matters
You can have
sorted
one
out.
blowout, you can have one big blowout, so all that pent-up frustration of not having a
You
pint.
didn't know who you was
Let's
playing
face
in
it.
pre-season, but you knew what night you
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
Well, let's face it, that's what the players look forward to, isn't it? On a
When can we go out?
Yeah,
When can we go
yeah,
out?
can we go out?
Pretty much.
Every night.
There's a-
Just
they had a la-
don't tell anybody.
They had a left winger called Darren Rowbottom playing for them. And I knew him because he played for the Welsh.
Exeter.
Yeah.
Darren
Yeah.
Robot. Yeah, I played with him. Torquay.
Darren Rowbottom? Yeah.
Darren. Good player.
He was.
Injury.
The
done
Welsh
him.
boy.
Yeah, he was as well.
You know, he's picking me up from a free kick for something. I'm like, why is he picking me up? Anyway, as I've gone for the header, he's gone bang.
Really?
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
He swears blind he never meant to do it. And I've seen him a few times when I've worked at Plymouth. And he's like,
Yeah.
him, he's never meant to do it. I was fucking, yeah, you did, mate, you did. You can tell.
If he's capable, I'm surprised
You
he's
can
been
tell.
brave enough for
You
that.
can tell. Anyway, I'm like, I've gone down, my mouth's bleeding. Because I used to be able to put my tongue through the one gap when I couldn't put it through. I'm like, oh, something's wrong here. And what he did, he'd knocked them back, knocked them across. So Billy Hales, the physio, he's come on. He said, oh, you're all right. Oh, you've only cut your gum, you're all right. And I'm like, Billy, I haven't just cut my gum. Anyway, played the whole game, went in after. I went, Billy, take a look at my teeth. They're not right. So he got the club. Don't laugh.
You had
I was
to
in agony.
convince him
I was in
that
agony.
something's not right.
So the extras club doctors come in. He said, "Oh no, they're in a bit of a mess." The following day, fucking missed the night out, didn't I? Couldn't go out. I was in agony. So I've missed the main thing for going down there.
You wouldn't have pulled anyway.
I was married at the time. I wouldn't want to pull.
That's another reason you wouldn't have pulled.
Shouldn't judge people by your own standards, all right? So I've gone to the dentist down there the next day, and he was like, looking at him. He's going, well, I can save them, but it's going to mean months of work and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, centre forward, tall, use my head a lot. I went, take them out. So I was injected but I could feel every single thing.
Every crunch.
He had to take 2 out, and as he's taken one of the main ones out, it splintered in the gum. He caught me that hard in there, so I had little bits of teeth in the gum still. So he had to cut them and get these little bits of. And I can remember that he had music playing in his surgery, whatever they call it. I still remember he had Purple Rain.
Right.
I was listening to that while he was and he had 6 stitches, and I was without teeth for about 6 weeks. So not great.
You look good now, though.
I've had new ones.
They're decent, aren't
Because I had ones that I look like Ryland.
Can you whip them out? Or
Yeah.
pegged
But
in or whatever?
PFA, because obviously I do a lot of talking with work and stuff like that, and I've got a whistle because I've got a big old overbite,
Right.
and the kids would always take the piss for it. So Dad's talking again, and like you record stuff like this, and someone will put a stupid, what's the whistling sound I can hear in the background? It's me talking. So I got in contact with the PFA. My Paul Allen, he was brilliant. He says, yeah, I'm sure they will, because what they don't like is that they'll look at it as cosmetic and all that. And he did it playing, so I don't see them being a problem. Paid every penny, to be fair.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got, but the ones I had before,
Rascals.
like Ryland off the telly,
Yeah.
had 3 of his teeth, and all the just like ding stood out, didn't they? But yeah, these match my own more.
Yeah, they're
These match my own
spot
more.
on, aren't they?
Yeah, they're better. They are better.
on.
And I've lost that whistle.
Yeah, no. I might have to get a number of that future reference when these start falling out.
Mate, anything like that, honestly, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. That's what they're there for. You remember for
Well, I
life.
know they are,
You
but
remember for life. You've paid your
you
subscription.
hear different stories, don't you?
But they were great with me when I.
So on at Norwich anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't start too well.
Oh no.
There's a,
Bit worse than Huddersfield, if that's even possible.
I'd say there's a little bit of a theme going on.
Yeah.
Here.
Start well at Wolves.
You're not smashing the ground running, are you?
No, but we were winning at Wolves.
Right.
And I was the final piece of the jigsaw, according to Mike Walker. Like the
Right.
promotion push, winning promotion. I was the final piece of the jigsaw.
How old were you then when you went to Norwich?
27, 28.
All right,
Yeah,
so-
27, 28. And they had this like all, because Norwich are normally yellow shirts, green shorts, yellow socks. But for some reason, the fans had a vote. They had this all yellow kit, and the shorts were clingy, tight. Once again, I'd put a little bit of weight on. I'd gone to Stevie Corica's wedding because I've got twin daughters.
Don't blame the shorts, mate.
Honestly, they were so tight. I'd gone to Stevie Corica's wedding in Australia because I've got twin daughters and he wanted the twins to be flower girls. I think I did one run in 6 weeks.
Right.
I didn't put as much weight as you did
familiar.
on that summer, but I weren't far off those sort of numbers. So yeah, I was a little, and I scored my debut against Wolves, the club I've just left.
Oh.
And at Carrow Road, boiling hot day, and I weren't one of these who drink loads of water to rehydrate. And they had Robbie Keane making his debut, so there's 2 debuts. I'm making mine for Norwich. Robbie's making his for Wolves, who was a young kid at the time. We lose 2-0. He scores 2. After 15 minutes, right, I've made a run down towards the Barclay end and I've heard someone, for fuck's sakes, Roberts, do something. And I was thinking, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season.
You just said it there. After 15 minutes, I made a run. It took you that long to make your first run.
I was breathing.
And again, you're wondering why the Wolves supporters have got it in for you. You scored 2 against them earlier.
Yeah, but I didn't score 2 Robbie Keane scored 2 for them in my debut for Norwich. I never had a kick on my debut.
Right, sorry. I'm
Yeah,
getting it wrong.
yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I thought
no,
it was-
yeah.
Right, okay.
Come
fair
on,
enough.
get with it.
So I
Rewind, sorry.
Anyway,
I drifted off.
The next
Get
game
with
we
it.
had Barnet at home in the League Cup, and I scored 2. That didn't really count against Barnet in the League Cup. No disrespect to them. As I say to you, I didn't score my first league goal until November.
Right.
So it was quite a tough season. But then
That missing piece took a while to
couldn't find it. It's under the sofa or somewhere, under the
Aaron
cushion.
Eady in there?
Yeah, little Jockey was there.
Yeah, Jockey,
Good
yeah.
player, good lad. And had it not been for the injuries that he had to his knee, I think he'd got in the Le Tournoi tournament
Yeah.
when Glenn Hoddle was manager.
Yeah, he was in that squad, wasn't
Yeah. I mean, but Jockey was very similar to Jockey, if that makes sense. Both like quite small, rapid,
Quick.
good, balance, good balance. I mean, little Julian was all right-footed, little Darren was all left-footed, but both just so direct. And I enjoyed playing with both of them. Sadly, I didn't get to play as long with Darren Eady because he moved here, didn't he?
Yep.
Came up
He
here.
was, he was a talent.
He was good
Sadly,
player.
because his career was cut short, never sort of really reached the heights that he most definitely would have.
He was sharp, wasn't he? Sharp.
Unfortunately, he couldn't stop a pig in a ginnel, as I say.
He's a bit bandy, wasn't he?
His-
Yeah, he's
that's
a bit
it.
bandy,
That
yeah.
was his knees,
Yeah.
his bandy leg, wasn't he?
But my best partner at Norwich, that's 2 really. Because Jockey was more of a left winger than a centre forward. Huck signed him last season.
Yeah.
And he,
Still mates with him now, aren't you?
yeah, he's the reason we got promoted. But me and Craig Bellamy, we sort of hit it off, to be fair.
Imagine, good combination.
Yeah,
Like playing,
yeah,
just
and
playing.
He was like a cocky little shit, fiery, and he was sort of more my son Ben's age
Right.
than he was my age.
yeah.
And I don't know. I think we had the Welsh connection, obviously.
Was he a Welsh speaker?
No. But we just hit it off. Didn't work on it in training. We just
Maybe your styles naturally
complemented
suited.
each other.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But he was cheeky. I remember at the start of my second season, because I only scored 7 goals. I whisked this whistle.
Little whistle
I know,
there.
I did.
Right.
Where does that come from? I'm talking. I only scored 7 goals in my first season, sort of thing. I had a better second half to my first season than the first. Anyway, went to Dublin pre-season. Went in a pub last night, a night out. I overheard Bella saying to a lad called Drew Broughton, who he got on really well with. Drew said something about the season. How do you think we're going to do? And Craig went, well, as long as this big twat can pull his finger out this season. And I went, who do you think you're talking about? You little one season wonder. One season wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, like, if I could have
I come back.
get back in it. Of course, he went on to have the career that he did. And
Yeah, you're right to say at the time, though.
yeah, I just thought he was about 14 at the time. Do you know what I
What
mean?
did he say? to that?
He probably said something back because he was never afraid of speaking his mind. I remember we because he was always cheeky to the experienced pros like Milligan, Fleck, Gunny, and because I'm living in Norfolk, every away game's a Friday. You leave at Friday unless you're playing Ipswich down the road. I think we're going to Bradford and we're going up the A17 and I think he's hammering Millie for some reason. Anyway, on the coach, you got the toilet in the middle, haven't you?
Yeah.
You got one at the back, one in the middle. And Neil Adams had this thing, if you got all 3 bins, if someone goes into the toilet, if you go for a pee, you have to leave your foot out. Because otherwise, Adams gets all 3 bins, puts them on the bottom step. Don't matter who you are.
Just come bowling.
You ain't coming out that door. You can open it about that much. The bins, it's just hitting against the bins, so you're never getting out. So Bellas has gone in, and we've gone, he's not left his foot out. He's closed the door and shoes straight out of his seat, bins down there. Bellas. And it was so funny. He could sort of squeeze his head a little bit through the door. And you can imagine, I mean, he swore anyway, he swore like a true, but anyway, the air was blue. Air was blue. I swear to God, and he'll still deny it. He was in there for about 2 hours.
What?
He was in there for about 2 hours. And we're like, right, in the end, I think Gunny wrote this contract up. I must not be cheeky. Anyway, you wouldn't make this sort of stuff up. I must not be cheeky to the senior pros. And he had to sign it before we let him out.
He did.
Frank Bellamy, get the bins out. But what a player, what a player.
Oh dear, picturing that. The silly little things they tickle me.
So
But
what happened then?
he was a player though, wasn't he?
Oh, I mean,
Annoying to play against. We had a couple of run-ins too.
intelligent, quick, bit greedy at times. But what he used to do, right, even at 18, 19, he would fly from Norwich Airport, because you're only 40 minutes from Schiphol. He'd go and watch some games in the Dutch league. He was that. So I'm not
into the football.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
He didn't strike me as that sort of character, but obviously we got it wrong.
Oh yeah.
Because he's with Vincent Kompany now, isn't
Yeah, he'll go on and become a really good manager, I think. I think he'll go on and possibly manage Wales one day.
Yeah.
You know, as you say, he had an academy job at Cardiff. He had to leave there for certain reasons. And as soon as Vincent Kompany got the Anderlecht job, he got Bellas to go and run the whole academy for him.
Yeah, that's a testament in itself.
Yeah, for someone like the contact that Kompany's got, the players that he's played with throughout his career, for him to think, right, who do I need?
A lot of people, myself included, wouldn't put them two together.
No, you wouldn't. Chalk and cheese, really, aren't they? But he was a character. He was a character.
Yeah, well, they don't say your styles suited each other.
Yeah.
Hit it off, but you wouldn't have played together that long, would you? I suppose he would have got to move soonish, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he moved because Robbie Keane left Coventry to go to Inter Milan, and then they signed. Maybe, and he had a cruciate ligament as well, so he missed 6 months. He had the injury where Kevin Muscat went over the top, and I mean, Craig, from an early age, Craig had a problem with his right knee, and it all came from a really, really bad tackle from Kevin Muscat. You know, when he's put a little bit too much on it, knowing that Craig's going to get there first, he's gone bang, straight down his kneecap, and he was never the same since, even though he had the career that he did. It always sort of plagued him, sort of thing.
He had a reputation for being
Muscat,
unnecessary, didn't he? Muscat.
He was. Do you know what? Off the pitch, he was a diamond. On the pitch, he was up. He wouldn't have any issues with breaking your leg or finishing your career.
Did you play with him?
No, only played against him.
Had an incident against him, though?
Nah. I did, yeah. Got a little bit of retribution, didn't I, for Bellas?
Yeah.
We played Wolves at home, and the ball over the top. I was never getting there first, was I? In a race between myself and Muscat. Anyway, he's tripped up, and Norwich have got a place called the Snake Pit in the corner of Carrow Road where all the hooligans go, and one thing or another. We're running towards that, and as he's tripped, I've sort of jumped over him, and my mind's gone back to the tackle that he put in on Bellas a couple of years before, and I've sort of stabbed right on his top of his back, his neck. Looked completely accidental. Never even got a yellow card. Ref never even had a word with me. He's writhing about in agony, got away with it. But I know I did.
Yeah.
I knew that I sort of done it on purpose.
And you got in a spot of bother.
I did.
Elatedly
I
for
did.
it,
I did.
This was quite strange,
I
really.
brought a book out, didn't I? And it's not the Mariah Carey one, All I Want for Christmas.
Is you? No, it's not that one.
It's just, and it
Who's
wasn't.
saying that? Is me two front teeth.
What is it? I don't know. It's some cockney, innit?
It's not when I was cleaning windows, that fella, was it?
Normal wisdom? Is it wisdom? No, it's not.
No,
wisdom.
not normal
Anyway,
wisdom.
what was he talking about? Oh, the book.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an autobiography of my life, because what's the point doing that at 32 or whatever? It was just like a diary of a daily sort of basis of a footballer sort of thing, training and games and one thing or another. Anyway, I admitted in the book, didn't I, that I'd done Muscat on purpose, blah, blah, blah. And I was, because obviously you have to get lawyers to read your book before they,
yeah,
just to make sure you don't get sued down the line or whatever. And they did warn me, just listen, you might get repercussions from this. What do you want to do? And I'm like, well, what's the point taking it out? If you're going to take things out, there's no point writing a book, really. So I said, nah, leave it in. A few weeks down the line, FA pick up on it. So yeah, got fined $3,000 and got banned for 3 games. And I'd moved then from Norwich to Gillingham. So they were punishing Gillingham more. Yeah. And it pissed me off a little bit because it was the same time where Beckham, he sort of admitted that he'd deliberately got a yellow card for England, which would mean he'd missed, say, Gibraltar, but then he was okay he was suspended for the next game, which was Gibraltar, which they'd win anyway. And he'd be fit, or he'd be allowed to play, he'd be free of suspension for the next game, which was going to be probably the hardest game in their group. So it pissed me off a little bit that he didn't get punished for saying he got booked deliberately. A little bit different, maybe.
Yeah, different scenario, but
same sort of...
you just...
Yeah, same sort of thing, isn't there? But he's the golden boy, isn't he?
I was going to say, but you're
And
not
even-
David Beckham.
Nah, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Even without Beckham, it's just a little bit petty.
But to be
isn't
fair, at the time, I was quite happy they suspended me for 3 games for Gillingham.
it? Yeah.
It didn't really bother me that much.
Yeah, your days were numbered anyway.
Yeah.
$2.5 grand, different matter.
Can you not ban me for 3 years or something?
Say, yeah, can you not ban me with 20 games and call the fine quits?
Find me the $3,000 and ban me for 20 for the rest of my career.
Yeah, finish me off anyway. But Norwich, good times though, wasn't it?
Yeah, after my first season, second season, I got 24 goals. Scored 2 at Portman Road against Ipswich, won 2-0, which is always a big game for the football club. Brian Hamilton, who's a top bloke, by the way, he sort of stepped down, and Nigel Worthington became caretaker manager. And we did all right, to be fair, under Nigel, who I got on really well with. And they still just kept him on a caretaker basis, dragged it on. Anyway, he pulled myself and Malky Mackay, because he knew me and Malky were good friends with one of the directors called Michael Folger, who was a good bloke. And he pulled us into his office. He said, go and have a word with Michael. Tell him, lads love me. We've done well. You know, we're in and around the playoffs. We've got a great chance of winning promotion. They should give me the job full time. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. So Nigel got the job full time, 3-year contract. We got to the final by 1 goal. We played, it was us and Burnley fighting for that 6th place. We had Stockport at home. This had Stockport in the Championship.
Yeah.
I don't know who Burnley were playing. Anyway, we finished on the same amount of points, but we scored 1 more goal, which meant we finished 6th.
Right.
Beat Wolves in the playoffs, which was sweet, I have to say. I remember Paul Butler, the centre half.
Yes.
Because they should have pissed the league. They were 12 points clear and blew it. West Brom pipped them to the 2nd place. Anyway, Paul Butler spoke to the Expression Star before the first leg at Carrow Road. And he basically said, the headline was, the tie will be done and dusted after the first leg. Meaning they go through by beating us at Carrow Road. Anyway, we've gone out and warmed up, and I was only sub because once again I'd been injured, I'd missed the run in. Anyway, we're all sat there waiting for Nigel to say what he had to say. Nothing. Complete silence. And he picks up this bit of paper, puts it on the notice board in the home dressing room at Carroll Road. And all he said was, lads, just before you go, I ain't going to say nothing. Just read that bit of paper before you go out. And the headline was, tie will be done over with before. we win the home game 3-1. And yeah, we lost the second leg. And to be fair, I don't know if it made the difference to winning or losing. Yeah. But it was just a clever thing to do.
Didn't do you any harm.
Yeah, their captains come out with that. Thinks a game. We lost 1-0 at Molineux, but we went 3-1, 3-2 on aggregate. And then met Millwall. Not Millwall. Millwall got beat by Birmingham in the playoff final in Cardiff. And I started on the bench. I came on with about 15, 20 minutes to go. And I remember Mark Rivers putting a ball across the 6-yard box within injury time. And it's one of those, fucking hell, I've probably scored the most important goal of my life here. So I've slid in and Jeff Kenner slides in just before me and deflects it out for the corner. Game goes into extra time. Within 30 seconds, I've scored the most important goal of my career, haven't I? Little Alex Stockman's put a great ball in. I've made good contact, as you're taught to do, headed it from where it's come from. Nico Vassen's nowhere. 1-0. I thought it's golden goal. Honestly, I thought it was golden goal. I'm away. You watch me celebrate, right? And I'm like, because I scored.
The game's over.
I scored Premier League. Here we come. Because I scored where the Birmingham fans were, so I ran towards the halfway line where the Norwich fans were. Lads have jumped on top of me, like one by one they're getting off, and I've got up and I'm punching the air. I'm putting my collar down. I've turned round. I've got Jeff Horsfield and Stern John about to take kick-off. I'm like, what? Not golden goal? Because there'd been a tournament that Germany had won at Wembley.
You're in the crowd celebrating with your mum and dad.
Oh, I'm like, that's it, the most important goal. And I mean, Jeff Horsfield equalised, game goes to penalties. And I was never like, I hate taking penalties. And people think centre forwards, they should take penalties. Just too much time to think what you're going to do, where you're going to put it. I was more, something lands, I hit it, more instinctive, really.
Yeah. Tony Cuddy says that.
Yeah, I hated it.
He wasn't mad on them, was he?
I took about 10, maybe scored half, missed half. Just didn't like taking them. Anyway, gone into penalties. Steve Foley, the coach, has come up to me and said, listen, Gaffer wants you to take the first one, wants to get off to a good start. I'm like, fucking hell, you've come to me. You've come to me to get off to a good start. But because I'd scored, the pressure was off a little bit. I said, yeah, I'll take the first one. And the pens were where the Birmingham fans were. I'm getting hammered. I'm getting absolutely hammered. And I put it down, sent the keeper the wrong way. He's got off to a good start. The other twats missed a couple, didn't they? Father Phil missed. I think Clint Easton missed and Phil Moran missed. I need to put you. And we had a lad called Daryl Such. No, Suchy missed. We had a lad called Daryl Such who...
He missed, and Phil Moran.
Yeah, and Suchy played for Norwich forever, didn't play for anybody else. And it was his son's birthday, Callum, on the day, and he'd got a T-shirt, you know, and I would never do this because I would never tempt fate. He'd happy birthday, Callum, on his T-shirt. So had he scored his pen, he'd have obviously missed and hit the corner flag, I think. That's why don't mess about with
his son in the head.
Yeah, don't mess about with stuff like that. So in the end, I think it was Darren Carter who scored the winning penalty for Birmingham. And I knew then, I mean, that's the lowest I think I've ever felt after the game, because I knew I was about 34, that I'd never play in the Premier League ever again. I knew it was over. But then...
You dropped a name in there. Go on, sorry.
2 years after, we win the league.
Yes.
Cheers, Nige, gives me a free transfer. Cheers, mate. After getting you the job, after going to beg Michael Folger to tell Daly and Michael to give you the job, you give me a free transfer. I was fuming.
But you're about 36 then, though.
I was 36.
Doesn't matter, you could have given me a year. Good round his dressing room.
I'd have done a job, mate, as they say, I'd have done a job.
Good round the dressing room, big round the waist.
I wasn't though, mate, honestly, because we've got a sports scientist in, Dave Catalan, who, even though he weighed you before, I sort of, Bruce Rioch had said a couple of things which had flicked the switch, and I sort of got to a stage where, right, I'm looking after myself. Because when Bruce took over, I'd have been about 31. He definitely put 5 years on my career, fitness-wise and nutrition-wise, or whatever you call it.
5 years, do you reckon?
Yeah, honestly, mate, honestly. And even at 36, I know what you're saying, you are coming towards the end, I still felt really fit. And I knew I weren't going to start every game, but if 9 times out of 10, we were going to be losing going into the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You could throw me on, I could cause havoc in the penalty box. But yeah, it gave me a free transfer.
Just thinking back to that playoff situation, golden goal.
Honestly, I was off. Honestly,
fair enough, but like, you've got to go through at the end of it after that. So you think you've won.
I thought I'd won us the game.
And then it goes belly up.
The game, yeah. And like the commentary is brilliant. The big man, the Welshman in Cardiff for Delia and the boss, because they pan to Delia Smith and her husband Michael Wynne-Jones. Then they go to Nigel Williams and he's giving it this to the lads. Yeah. Calm down. Next 5 minutes and all that crap. And I'm running back to Norwich. I'm down the M4.
No. Disaster. A disaster. Talking of disasters, your international career.
How can you say representing your country is a disaster? How can
From
you
one
say
disaster
that?
to another.
Even I scored 1 international goal, 18 cap, 15 cap. I'm not saying disaster, I'm being harsh. 0 goals.
That hurts, mate.
I know it hurts.
What you just said.
I know it hurts, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of my massive regrets is leaving Leicester. The other one is not scoring for Wales.
Should you have scored?
Yes. I mean, don't forget, the majority of my caps were when I came off the bench.
Yeah.
Because when I first
got competition, to be
when I first got in, I was with like Ian Rush, Mark Hughes, Dean Saunders. My first trip with Wales, I was only 18, and we played Israel away. And we're flying from Heathrow, and Graham Taylor gets, pack your bags, you've been called in. There's a taxi waiting for you. Arrive at Heathrow, they're all there. And one of the first on the plane is a two-seater. So I've got into the aisle seat. I'm like, who am I going to be sitting next to? And I've seen like Neville Southall, Kevin Ratcliffe, Ian Rush. Mark Hughes gets on, and he's at Bayern Munich at the time. And he's just gone, pointed to the seat, didn't even say a word to me. I'm like, all right, under the belt. So I'm fucking, I was sitting next to Mark Hughes. I was at Wrexham when he scored that unbelievable goal against Spain. And I knew he'd obviously been to Barcelona. So I've gone, what was Barcelona like? He went, shit. I've gone, right, okay. I've gone, but it's better at Munich, isn't it? And, yeah. Right, he don't want to talk, so I fucking shut up for the next 6 hours. Did not say a word. Did not say a word.
He's all right, though, isn't he?
I got more claps off Sparky than I did anybody else. But going back to, we played in the Kirin Cup. Got sent off for Wales as well, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah. We played the Kirin Cup in Japan in '91, I think it was. So there was us, the host Japan and Argentina. I think Batty Stewart played for Argentina. He scored the winner against us. We lost 1-0. And one of the best chances I've had, and it's one of those, once again, as you see it come into the back post, you think, yeah, hit the target, it's a goal. And Gary Speed, bless him, he's made a great run down the lane. He's picked me out the back post, and I'm thinking, I've scored, finally scored for Wales. Header goes in the side net, into it. Gutted. And they got sent off against Japan for something, I mean, straight red card as well. Straight red card. Peter Shreves, remember Peter Shreves?
Yeah.
Cockney geezer, yeah. You let your family down, you let us down. I'm like, have a look at it, I've hardly touched him. I'm chasing after one of their midfielders, and as I'm chasing him, his knee's hit in there, so he's tripped up. So he's gone flying. It's not even a yellow card. I've turned around, and the ref from Hong Kong was like that.
I was going to say, where was the referee from?
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You got no chance, have you? So yeah, and then we played a home game in the Millennium against, I think it was Armenia. And Ryan Giggs has taken the corner. I've made a run to the near post. Once again, you're inside the 6-yard box, hit the target, it's a goal. And it's nearly impossible. I did, it's skimmed off the side of my head, and it's gone back the back post. It's literally nearly impossible to miss. So those two stand out really, that should have scored.
Frustrating.
Oh, mate, I'd have loved to have scored in a Welsh shirt.
Yeah, your home nation.
Yeah. But sadly, wasn't to be.
Well, like I say, in fairness, there was some
Yeah, and
competition
then
around those
you had
days,
like
wasn't
Big John Hartson, sort of
there? Yeah, Bellamy.
came in, Bellas, Nathan
What
Blake.
what was Savage like in the squad?
Sav, Mr. Insecure. How did I do? How did I play?
Yeah.
How did I do? 7? 7? Half fit and you're close,
Great,
yeah.
isn't it?
Really?
He used to take stock of that, didn't he? Like on a Monday morning, he used to get the
I bet.
ratings.
Yeah, see how, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Got 6 there. He'd go round, ask everyone, and most people would agree with the rating until the physio. It was always the physio went, oh, he's worth at least a 7. See, I told you. He's like,
He was so insecure, wasn't he?
bizarre,
I got on all right with Sav. I rooted with him a few times. Yeah, he's good. He is what he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
You either love him or I got on really well
That's a
with him.
good way of describing
Yeah,
it.
I got on really well with Sav, to be fair. I still do now, sort of thing. Now he's got a bit big time, sort of thing, with that stupid Barney that he's got.
He's harmless, isn't he?
He is harmless. His heart's in the right place, I tell you. His heart is in the right place.
You had your altercations, Gerald, didn't you? But we'll say that.
When you play together...
Only on the pitch.
Only on the
strictly,
right,
wasn't
yeah.
Off it.
it? Generally, he was all right, wasn't he?
There's absolutely only one winner there, by the way.
Well, yeah,
Is there?
that's true.
And it's not the blonde bombshell from Wrexham.
Oh, he got a little tickle off the tags, Meister.
Did
Yeah, off the Kurgan.
Off that left hand of yours.
Kurgan from Lurgan. He got a little tickle in the game, but yeah, it's all water under the bridge now.
Overall, though, mate, you know, a long and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, as you told me when I first...
semi-glittering career.
A few
at times.
highs, quite a lot of lows.
Yeah.
Had
Part of the tapestry, mate. Isn't it?
had you told me, like, when I was starting off, that I'd play over 750 games in 20 years and scored 239, not that I remember. 202
you
league.
are the start man, though, Ewan.
I know, yeah.
So you're not going to forget
You've got
your
to
own
remember your own
stats.
stats, haven't you? 202 league goals. Looking back,
bad going.
no, I can be quite sort of proud with, but
I think if you play that long, you know, I think my career was 18.
I was lucky.
If you don't get injuries.
Yeah, apart from if you play against clumsy over here.
Well, you know what I mean, like.
But no
career
knees and stuff.
threatening,
Yeah,
no knees.
yeah. And the thing is,
Yeah, I was quite lucky like that.
I'd never relied on pace. I never had pace, so I didn't rely on that to get me. I relied on other things to get me goals, sort of thing. So it's not as if I had a yard or if I'd lost 2 yards. I just didn't have that yard to lose, sort of thing. So I think that's why I could.
Well, you just become more clever as you
Yeah,
get older,
yeah,
don't you?
yeah. I was looking at the programme the other night. Teddy Sheringham played in the Premier League at 40.
Yeah. Well, again, no pace.
No pace, but goal scorer.
Otherwise, you got to really adapt.
And I'm not liking myself to Teddy Sheringham before you
I wasn't thinking that.
Good.
Phil.
You've got nothing to
neither
say
were we.
about that. So, Ewan, just before we finish, we have this little game we'd like to play with you. And what it's called is Desert Island Foxes. So basically, you're on a desert island, you're marooned, you're cut off, deserted from the rest of the world, and you've got 3 of your ex-Leicester City teammates that you can bring with you out onto this island. First of all, why you bring them, and what jobs would you give them to make sure that your stay on this island is fulfilled?
Right. I mean, the first one is quite easy. Walshy. Because we used to call him Sanatogen, is it? The little tap, one a day, every day. Yeah. That was, you know, Walshy. He would give you something every day. He'd make you laugh every day. So,
I've never heard that about him before.
yeah, honestly, we used to call it. Oh, it's Sanatogen, wasn't it? Yeah. One a day, every day.
Brilliant. So he's your entertainment.
Yeah, he's entertainment. I would say Mick Whitlow.
Yeah.
And because just by any chance, right, says that some alcohol gets swept up onto the beach, a bit like Castaway. You don't know what's going to get. Which was a teetotal. Teetotal? Yeah,
He was.
Never touched
Hey,
the drop.
which is that nice? He'd let you have it anyway.
Yeah, so there'd be
if he
one less to get on the
Yeah.
on the last. So I'd take
Good,
Mickey.
I like it.
Got to eat. I'm not. If food's quite sparse, not a lot of it, we're going to end up sort of
Yeah,
eating
not
each
gonna
other,
eat
aren't you? You know what I mean? Parks was a little bit. He carried a little bit of weight, didn't he? Because I never played with you, obviously. Otherwise, so we'd have
Looking down there.
it's that padded jacket, mate. So with the, I think Parks had a little bit of meat on him,
yeah,
yeah. So if the worst got to the worst and the bananas and the coconuts sort of started running out, Parks' thigh looks a bit, bit
I was to say, you want
appetising.
Parks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want Parks as a rival, do you?
No. So, yeah, Gary Parker, just in case the food ran out.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
Plenty of meat on him. not for him to be a cook, but maybe him to be cook.
He taught you to death, Parks, as well, wasn't he?
He had that sort of... Was he from Oxford?
Yeah.
He had that accent as well, which made him even funnier, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a funny boy, wasn't he?
Good player, by the way.
Just one quick little thing before we wrap things up. But you mentioned there, it's mentioned in here about dementia aspect of things. You take tests, is that right?
Yeah,
every 6 months, and you think you've got quite a forgetful memory, if that's the right terminology.
Yeah, I mean...
But listening to you today, you haven't. Not where your football career is concerned, certainly.
I can remember goals from years past. But it's like stupid. And I think it's a bit of both, a bit of lack of concentration when you're being introduced to someone and, this is Phil or this is...
Yeah, everyone
you know what I mean?
That, don't they? Yeah.
But there's a professor at the UEA in Norfolk, Dr. Michael Gray, Canadian bloke, really, really intelligent man, and he's come up with this scores project. And he's got myself and Jeremy Goss involved. It's just like little tests that you do on a iPad, laptop, and just quite simple directions and different things. And he said, well, would I take part, sort of thing? And they're in talk getting more funding from the FA, the PFA, because they need a bit more funding. And it's not just for male professionals, it's for females, because obviously we all suffer, people, both genders suffer from Alzheimer's, dementia. So I've got involved with that. Not that I'm worried, don't keep me awake at night, but it's just where have I put that?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, where's keys? Just silly little things.
Comforting thing myself is I used to do that when I was 20 as well. I'm still doing it now, but
because the nature,
years later.
and the way the three of us played, and people will only see your head in a ball in a game, and like every goal kick against you, one of you going up for it and heading it. I've got to go up for every goal. I'm going to go back for every set piece. Yeah. You've got to come up for every set piece in defence. The amount of times you head a ball, not just in the game.
More in training.
In training, exactly, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like, I remember at Watford, when I was a young kid, you'd finish off by an hour crossing and finishing, heading balls, bang.
Lumping balls from 60 yards away.
And it weren't these light balloons they play with now, like the big old mighty things, wet, bang, you'd come off your head would be spinning.
It's true.
Head would be spinning. It's not what you do in a game. It's, as you say, from a Monday to Friday, the amount of times you head a ball in training,
It's a concern. Anyway, son.
Cheers, boys. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Good to see you. I've enjoyed seeing you today more than I normally do.
Why? Because I show you what you mean with your lack of homework.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or is that how you remember everything? You just write it down?
I've got to write it down, yeah. And then it's just keep reading it. And if it's on the radio, you can do that, because obviously I do a lot of radio work now. And it don't matter, because no one can see it, can they? No one can see you reading notes and that. But if you're doing stuff for TV, it's not good to have a book in front of you. But yeah, I do like little reminders.
Yeah, but just doing that yourself helps you prepare anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Top man.
Cheers,
Marty.
Pleasure,
Thanks,
Iwan.
top man, pal. Thank you very much. Thank
Pleasure.
you.